हेलो बच्चों, कैसे हैं आप सभी। मैं आप सभी का स्वागत करती हूँ। आई वेलकम यू ऑल to the newspaper analysis at Tathastu-ICS. My name is Ruchi. I bring you every day discussion of the Hindu Delhi edition analysis. So let's begin with our discussion of every article which should be in the focus today, which you should read properly. See, there are 3-4 articles, 2 from editorial page and then next to editorial page. One article that is very much important for you today is related to the dual nature, the dual characteristics which is present in the economy, as has been highlighted by the writer. And then second article that we will be dealing is on the rare diseases. And the third article which is in focus today for us is on the early childhood education in India, and that has been historically neglected. What has been this the context which has been mentioned in the article. The writer is trying to make the point that the rare diseases in India is being neglected, and also the early childhood education care in India is also somewhere lagging. So with this little bit of brief about the articles which we will be taking, let's take the article one by one in detail. So we do not have today anything to read on the front page. Directly go to this article. PM Modi inaugurates country's first indigenous hydrogen fuel cell ferry. So what is the news? This has been inaugurated in Cochin, all right, and this is hydrogen fuel cell ferry boat, and this can carry up to 50 passengers. The hydrogen fuel vessels has fully homegrown technology and it can be replicated in other parts of the country for urban mobility application. So this ferry is for urban mobility and this is based on hydrogen fuel cell. All right, this is a ferry and this has been inaugurated in Cochin for now. All right, so this is just a little bit information in passing. The article which is the one of the most important article that should be in detail, that should be discussed and understood in detail, is this one. So vignettes of a genus-based economy. The first thing, some of the words you should pick from the articles you read that will be very helpful for you to write an authentic answers is genus-based. So what is the genus-based? The meaning of genus-based matlab the existence of two characteristics in one thing or one person, like the economy having two sharply contrasting, and the characteristics are sharply contrasting. So here the writer is trying to make a point that Indian economy is exhibiting or is having dual contrasting nature. So first here in the article which has been mentioned is that the present government is trying to make a point that GDP growth has been quite robust, economy is growing, life standard of people is getting better and better, employment is there, all these things, and some of the data also is mentioned to justify these claims. And then there is a contrasting nature which has been mentioned to highlight that despite all these facts available, all these data available, there are contrasting data which shows that all these nature or the characteristics which has been talked by the present government or which has been claimed by the present government that the economy is doing better and better, actually there is a different face to it which is contrasting to this stance. So let's look at the article, let's look at the content, and the first thing here, read claims and counterclaims are there. The government to establish the superiority, all right, of the economic management in the last decade often highlights three aspects of the performance. So with this you have to understand what are the three aspects of the performance of the economy which is the government which is highlighted by the government, which shows that the economy is doing better. So the first point here is the size and the growth of gross domestic product, which is projected to become the third largest in the near future and has registered high growth rates. So the first point which has been highlighted in a positive sense, which is being highlighted in a positive sense by the present government, that the GDP is growing by showing the size and growth of GDP. Second, the number of people who has moved out of poverty, which it claims is the highest in the recent times. All right, so people have moved out of the poverty. And then third is the soaring stock market. So 3 points where the present government is trying to make a positive claim is on the basis of size and growth of the GDP. Second, the number of people who have come out of the poverty, and the third is soaring stock market. So this is the claims of the government. Next, which is being shown or which is being highlighted here further, is some of the further claims to justify that economy is doing better. Passenger car sales, domestic air passengers, traffic increase in demat accounts. So what are the claims? Passenger car sales are up, domestic air passenger traffic is up, there is an increase in demat accounts, UPI transaction and sale of high-end mobile phones and luxury homes are indicators often used to highlight the outcomes of sustained growth. So first, the writer is saying that the government is trying to make a claim that all these three factors are there present in the economy, which is showing that economy is doing well, and then these are the data and the facts presented to justify those claims. But in further due course, in reading the article, we will see that the writer is giving a contrasting situation, contrasting reality present to this, and each of these will be critically discussed, critically deconstructed. So let's see how it has been deconstructed. And if you see, there has been some of the data also, here the point which has been made here, the data here has been provided to support the claim. So these are the data, please read from it. What are the data to support these claims which has been made in the previous paragraph? Then read this. Now the writer is giving a contrasting view. These growth indicators, however, coexist with numerous indicators that reveal the distress side. So till now the writer has mentioned the positive side of the economy, which has been claimed by the government, the present government, in 3 dimensions that we looked in the very first paragraph. Now the writer is bringing a contrasting view, the contrasting facts and data which was in the which is in contrast to the points, the positive aspect which has been talked earlier. So these growth indicators coexist with numerous indicators that reveal the distress side of the economy, which is a feature of dual economy. We'll see what is the meaning of dual economy. Understand here. So here you have been introduced to a concept, and that is dual economy. Read this. Economic dualism. What do you understand by economic dualism? In terms of a broad definition, refers to the coexistence of. What is dual economy? It is the coexistence of 2 or more economic systems. A dual economy is formed by the coexistence of subsistence agriculture. So what is a dual economy? That is subsistence agriculture along with production industrial goods for cash production industrial goods for the international market. So when these 2 features are present in one economy, that is called a dual economy. The dual nature of the economy emerges when we examine another set of indicators alongside much acclaimed growth performance. So growth performance has been much acclaimed by the present government. But when we see this dual nature, we will see that economy is also having negative aspects or negative outlook to it. Then let's look at what these positive or the claims which has been made by the government, how these has been deconstructed, how these has been contrasted by the writer. First, in November 2023, the government extended the free food grain distribution. So it's saying that because there are some of the initiatives, some of the programs which has been brought by the government. All right, then these programs and the data has been presented here. By this data, the writer is saying that if these kind of contrasting reality is existing, so where are the people who are out of the poverty? If large number of people are taking benefit of such schemes, free food, etc., and the data will see, then where are the people? Then how this claim that large number of people have been taken out of the poverty, how this will be a truth? Let's read that data. In November 23, the government extended free food grain distribution, grain distribution program. So this was brought, and now it says that if 813 million people are to avail free food grains from the government, it constitutes 57% of the population. So 57% of the population are taking free food from this program. Now, when the economy grows, up now it is the contrasting statement comes. When the economy grows and such a large share of the population depends on free food grains from the government, it indicates that the benefits of the growth are not trickling down to the other half of the economy where dualism persists. So, other half of the economy, and this data shows that if such kind of reality exists, so where is the growth trickling down? If let's say there is a growth, but if such data are existing that 57% of people are taking benefit of free food program, so that means that growth is not trickling down. All right, and then second point of contrast that has been made is, look at this. In an era of high growth, the demand for work under Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme has been the highest. So if there is a high growth, people should be absorbed in the formal economy. Why people are asking for more employment under the Manrega scheme? All right, this stares as a question. If there is a growth, there should be more employment in the formal economy, but it is not so because people are still seeking the jobs under Manrega. Now, read this paragraph, read this data. While official data from the period 2022-23 claims a decline in unemployment, so the claim has been made that there is a decline in unemployment. It also shows that 45% work in the agriculture sector. In another instance, the response in Haryana and Uttar Pradesh to advertisements of skilled workers for jobs in war hit Israel. So there has been advertisement by the government of Haryana, in Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. There was an instance that people, there was a notification, there was a job requirement advertisement to in the area of war hit Israel. So if people are going to work in war hit Israel, that shows the poor situation of people being so desperate to seek employment. All right, so highlights the intensity of latent unemployment crisis. So there is a latent unemployment crisis. That's why people are willing to work in such volatile areas, that is war hit Israel, right? So two contrasting views has been presented to conflict or to contrast with the idea that if Indian economy is growing, is bulging, but then where is the growth if these factors are present? So this necessitates us to question that where the growth is going. That also means growth is not trickling down. All right, then in the next line paragraph, read this data. In the last 5 years, 2019 to 2023, the annual growth rate of real rural wages has become negative for both agriculture and non-agriculture. So you see, the now point is about rural wages. It is negative at both agriculture and non-agriculture side. Then next you see the slow growth of rural income. Rural income, there is a slow growth, and its role in perpetuating dualism is corroborated by the level of indebtedness. So there is indebtedness, there is slow growth of rural income, and there is indebtedness among the households. This is also contrasting presence of the negative side in the economy, or presence in the negative reality in the economy. According to the All India Debt Investment Survey, the incidence of indebtedness was about 35% in rural India. So incidence of this indebtedness is 35% in rural area, and in urban area is 22%. So there is slow growth of wages, there is presence of indebtedness. So we got 4 data to contrast and contradict the point that Indian economy is growing and the employment is reducing, the people are coming out of the poverty, etc. and etc. All right, and then it is contradicting this point also. The surge in, the government also tried to make a claim that there is a surge in demat accounts. That means there is a high growth in stock markets as well. Now this is being contradicted here. The surge in demat accounts has to be seen in line with the explosive growth in stock options. So Bloomberg report, there's a Bloomberg report, in 2023, Indian investments traded a whopping 85 billion options contracts. So Indians traded in traded in options, options contracts, and that is 85%. If you see the data from United States, it is just 11%, and if you see Brazil, this is just 2.4 billion, and US, sorry, it was not 11%, it is 11.2 billion option contracts. This means that the investments through Options contracts, it is quite volatile. It is based on speculations, and anything speculative is harmful for the economy. We will look at what is the meaning of option contracts, what is put and call, but for now just deconstruct the article and find out what are the points which you need to take away. So there is a surge in options trading which is not good for the economy, and that has been proved here. Like, read it. The surge in options trading among retail investors is a matter of concern. It is a matter of concern as instead of investing following the conventional methods such as investing in stocks and mutual funds. So conventional methods, following the conventional method is a healthy practice, that is investing in the stocks, investing in the mutual funds, but people are investing in the option contracts, and that is quite volatile and based on speculation. Anything based on speculation is quite volatile and not good for the long term. So this has been mentioned here. Now this is what I showed you, that how you should read this article. Now some additional deconstruction, some additional add to the content which you need to read. What is options trading? Because we understood, we did find such terms. So what is option trading? It is a form of investment that involves the buying and selling of financial contracts called options. Alright. So what is options? These are financial contracts, and option trading is buying and selling of these contracts. Options give the holder the right but not the obligation to buy or sell as buy and sell an underlying asset at a predetermined price within a specific time frame. So this is options trading which you need to know. Then in the stock market there are two types of options, call and put. What is call? The right to buy security is known as call, while the right to sell is called as put. So call and put options you need to understand. That was in addition. Let's now go to some of the questions which can be asked based on this article. So I'll look at it so that you can understand how you should expect the questions to come. Investigate the dualistic nature of Indian economy. Investigate the dualistic nature of Indian economy considering contradictory indicators, welfare initiatives and financial market concerns. Discuss policy implications. So I will say try to answer this in 250 words, 15 markers. Okay. So, and if you see the relevance of the topic, this is important for GS paper 2, that is social justice, vulnerable sections and education, etc. So what is the UPSC relevance? Evaluate the historical neglect of early childhood education. Dualistic nature of Indian economy. No, this is for early childhood care. This is not for the. Look at here. This was for another article, not for this. Just go and read here. Delete that. The article critically examines. Yes. So continue. That we will look at in reference to another article that was mistakenly pasted in that article. You have to read it from here. So we were on the dualistic nature of the Indian economy, and this article examines, and this is important for paper that is your paper 3 of UPSC mains, and also it might be coming from in the prelims also, that is what is dual economy, that those programs can be mentioned, some of the data can be mentioned, and PYQs or some of the practice question can come. So this article examines the paradoxical state of the Indian economy. Okay? Paradoxical state, you can say, that is dualistic nature. Okay? Showcasing contradictory indicators of growth alongside persistence. So this is what here I have written is nothing but deconstruction of what all we read in the article. So if you see, if you think how you should put the article in a proper format, so there has been an introduction, and in the introduction the writer has shown some contradictions, and then government claims which we read, and then contradictory Indian economy, mixed performance, government's claim which we did discuss about the GDP, etc. and the poverty. It says there is a poverty reduction. We all did see, and that's how you can see and deconstruct. Then there is a welfare scheme, welfare initiative, and through this welfare initiative we try to contradict the claims made. Then Manrega demand, food grain distributions, concerns about financial market which we saw in terms of the rising demat account, and then it was contradicted by saying that the investment was not in the conventional forms, but it was in the options contract, which is quite volatile, which is quite speculative and not good for the economy. And this is highest practice in the India. In contrast to US, in India there is $85 billion, in US it is 11, in Brazil it is almost $2.5 billion. All right. So concerns about financial market sustainable development goals. Then in the last, the article, if you see, has mentioned, this is very good conclusion you can take away. It says that SDG targets has to be met. What is the deadline? 2030. And India is trying to become the third largest economy, that is $5 trillion in between 2024 and 2029. 2024 and 2029. It is expected to cross $5 trillion mark and is likely to become the third largest economy in the world. But says that it has to meet 2030 goals as well. But then the extent of India's slippage in achieving SDG targets would expose claims of growth and size of the economy. So it says that warning, the writer is warning that India is not able to achieve the SDG goals and the deadline is 2030. And when the deadline of SDG will be met, then we will see how India has performed, and when we'll see that India has slipped, which is quite a probability, this will expose the condition or the reality of Indian economy, which has a dual nature. So this has been mentioned here. Let's look at the question. This was the question. Try to deal the question and see if you can write based on the understanding. Please strike it off. Strongly mentioned. Not here. This is to be striked. Investigate the dualistic nature of Indian economy considering contradictory factors. You have to write it in 250 words, 10 marks. Okay? Try to attempt this question and see if you can write based on the understanding which we derive from this article. All right. And then second article, which is important for us, is the economic case for investing in India's children. So this article is actually about the historical neglect of early childhood care and education. So this article has presented some of the data, some of the facts, which shows that in India there is a historical neglect of early childhood care and education, that is ECCE. Okay, so let's deconstruct the article and try to understand what questions can come. Look at this question. The Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009 remains. This was asked in UPSC in the year 2022. So you can understand the relevance of this article by this question which has already been asked, and we'll see a practice question also. The Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009 remains inadequate in promoting incentive-based system for children's education without generating awareness about the importance of schooling. Analyze. So this was the question asked in 2022. Based on this article, look at a question and try to think while you are reading the article, understanding the article, try to think whether you can attempt this question. Examine the historical oversight of early childhood education in India and discuss. So examine the historical oversight of early childhood education. You have to give those points which are mentioned in the article that show the condition of historical initiative that has been taken with regard to childhood education, and discuss its emerging significance for holistic national development. 150 words, 10 marks. So if you see what is the significance, with what area of the syllabus this article becomes important. This is important for social justice, vulnerable sections and education. If you see the relevance with respect to UPSC, evaluate the historical neglect of early childhood education, emphasizing its critical role in holistic national development. So this is the context of the article with respect to UPSC relevance. And if you read what is early childhood care, what are the challenges, if you see what are the challenges which we see in with respect to early childhood education in India. Challenges: there is a lack of quality and there is uneven access also, there is a fragmented system. So, and if you read, this all has been mentioned in the article. I just have deconstructed and put it in different dimensions, in different subheadings. Then there is a way forward which has been mentioned. What is the way forward? There has to be teacher training, there has to be focus on a play-based learning, increase in the public investment is required. Then community engagement is also required. So this is a bit about early childhood care, and look at the article. Let's read the article and see what it mentions. It might seem self-evident that India's children deserve economic investment given the country's focus on demographic-driven education and jobs. But somehow early childhood education has remained both underinvested and underexplored over decades. With the increasing focus by the government on women-led development, so we in your previous sessions we have discussed that the government is trying to take a lot of women-led development, women-led initiatives which are helping for India to achieve women-led development. All right. And then with this including a new survey by the Ministry of Women and Child Development and Labour announced on January 30 on working women, care work and early childhood are finally being seen as part of the critical work of running a country. So, and then it said that there has to be focus earlier in the life cycle. The argument for increased investment in early childhood care and education is a basic one. Human resources are the bedrock of a nation and early childhood is the bedrock of a human being. So let's say it's very good fodder point for essay as well. Read this line. The argument for increased investment in early childhood care and education is a basic one. Human resources are the base. This line can be given as an essay. Human resources are the bedrock of a nation and early childhood is the bedrock of a human being. See, this phrase you can use in essays, you can use in your answers. Slowly but surely, the Indian development state has fostered and catered to parental aspiration for education, targeting first access crossing 100% gross enrollment ratio at the primary level, and now equality with an increased focus on measuring learning outcomes. So these are the positive indicators, and this is a phrase you can use in your essays also with respect to child care, children education, human resource development, etc. Then there has been some initiatives like initiative for proficiency in reading with understanding and numeracy, that is to be focused here. Read this, and Nipun Bharat, read about MWCD. So these are some of the focused or relevant point from this article. And then there has been a mention of importance of Anganwadi and Asha workers. And then the most important paragraph is the conclusion, which I want you to read and take away. Children born in 2024 will be 5 years into adulthood by 2047. In India's 100th year of independence. So in 2047, India will be at its 100 years of independence. Then, and target year for Viksit Bharat. 2047 is the target year for Viksit Bharat. The path from the developing and developed countries like the Asian tigers is paved with human development investment, and the earlier it is the better. So it says that to become an Asian tiger, it is important to invest in human resources, and if we invest in human resources at the earliest, that is at the childhood level itself, that will be more significant in terms of output. If we want India's women to work and India's children to thrive, investing in ECCE is the way forward. It is child's play. All right. So ECCE, early childhood care and education, is important. There the focus should be. Let's now look at some of the extra additions that is required here, and we did see, I think yes, we did already see the challenges and the way forward, etc., and that itself is mentioned, taken away from the article itself, nothing new. So try to attempt the question which I have shown and see if you can attempt the question based on the article and the discussion. All right, the last article for us to see is this one, India's fight against rare cases. If you remember, there was a news about a celebrity 19-year-old girl, that was Suhani Bhatnagar. She died of dermatomyositis. what was dermatomytosis, and it is actually one of the rare diseases. What is the rare disease? Look, the rare diseases term has not yet been formally defined, but we'll try to understand still what is meant by rare diseases. All right, and these are the diseases which are very rare, which affect very rare, very less number of population, but they are quite lethal. Okay, so and we'll see some data. Look at this data. First, let's look at the question. Examine the challenges in addressing rare diseases in India, discussing the policy gaps, inadequate funding, and the way forward. Let's say this question comes in exam in 150 words, 10 marks. If you read this article, this question, attempting this question is very easy, and this is very probable area for you for the examination point of view, because there has been instances of deaths from rare diseases. So what is rare diseases? First of all, read. Rare diseases are conditions that affect a small number of people, typically defined as fewer than 200,000 in the United States and 50,000 in Europe. Over 7,000 rare diseases have been identified. So how many rare diseases have been identified? 7,000 rare diseases have been identified, affecting more than 30 million people in the US alone. 72% of the rare diseases are genetic in origin. So if you see this data, 72% of the rare diseases are genetic in nature. Further, meaning they are caused by changes in genes. Symptoms of rare diseases can be wide ranging. What are the symptoms? So look at the symptoms are vary greatly from disease to disease, and even between individuals with the same condition. So even people who have the same condition, the symptoms vary hugely. So there is no distinct, or there is no definite symptoms which can be seen and identified and can be said that this kind of rare disease this person is suffering from. That is also one of the challenges in identifying rare diseases. Diagnosis of rare diseases can be challenging due to their rarity and diverse symptoms. Treatment options are often limited or unavailable for many rare diseases. So these are the some of the challenges. Look at this. Now look at this data. Rare disease in India. Neglected crisis. It's a neglected crisis. Why? Because there is a high incidence in India. India bears 1/3 of the global rare disease burden, with over 450 identified rare diseases affecting 8 to 10 crore Indians, primarily children. So what does rare diseases do in India? It is affecting 8 to 10 crore, and especially the primarily children. There is a lack of awareness and diagnosis. There is an incomplete policy framework as well. What are the challenges in treatment and funding? Limited treatability is there. Less than 50% of identified rare diseases in India are treatable, and treatments are available for only about 20 diseases. Imagine, accessible mainly from a few centers of excellence. So only accessible in the few centers of excellence, and only is available for 20 diseases. Budgetary constraints is also there. Inadequate funding utilization is also there. Even though the fund has been allocated to treat or to diagnose the rare diseases, there is still inadequate utilization of the funds. Then what are the measures and way forward then? If there are challenges, what are the measures and the way forward? Look at this. There has to be a standard definition of budgetary increase. We did see that the standard definition for rare diseases is not yet there. We just try to understand what do we mean by rare diseases, but if we see, there is no availability of formal definition of rare diseases, and then that is why it says that a standard definition of budgetary increase has to be there. Expansion of CEOs, Center for Excellences, where these treatment can be availed from. More number of CEOs has to come so that even the fund utilization can be better. Public-private partnership has to be there. Recommends involving public and private companies for funding, leveraging CSR initiatives, and forming partnership to address funding shortfalls. So CSR initiative के through भी such funds can be utilized, and public-private partnership can do a better thing for this. Addressing drug prices and availability. So regulating the drug prices, and then availing those drugs which can treat the rare diseases is another area which can be worked, and these are the measures and a way forward for rare diseases. And one of the rare diseases I want to show you has been mentioned few. Read this. Rare diseases in India. India accounts for 1/3 of the global rare disease incidence with over 450 identified diseases. These range from widely known ones such as, now read the few of the names: spinal muscular atrophy, Gaucher's disease, to lesser known ones such as mucopolysaccharides type 1 and Whipple's disease. So, alright, so these are the some of the diseases and how this girl died, the celebrity. She died of the dermatomytosis. Alright, a rare disorder that causes inflammation in muscles. So dermatomytosis है, that causes inflammation in the muscles, came in the same month as Rare Disease Day. So the day when this information was in news, we were celebrating Rare Disease Day as well. We were observing Rare Disease Day as well. So this is a quite sad situation about the rare diseases in the country, and this is all about today's The Hindu news analysis. And I have shown you some of the PYQs and I have given you some of the practice questions. Please mark this article, read line by line, add whatever content I showed which are in extra. In one of the articles I have just tried to deconstruct and write down those points which have been mentioned in the article with some with the different subheadings, so that you can understand what is the content to be read in particular subheading. And in another I have just tried to make you understand what the article is trying to say. Please note down these 2-3 terms in terms of rare diseases, and keep your mind open whenever any further article relating to or similar to such issues come. Add to your information and try to see how many questions you come across and you can solve from this discussion. Alright, so this is it for today's The Hindu newspaper analysis. Keep reading your news. If you have any question, you can always comment and ask. Till then, I'll see you in next session. Till then, take care, all the best, and Tathastu.